Ladies and gentlemen, Hebrews and Shebrews, welcome to the Life Podcast, where we inspire you to thrive as peculiar people in a modern world. And today we're doing that by talking to Tom and Sam from Homestead on the Rock. They are down in Australia, and they are homesteaders, and you're going to hear their whole story of how they got to where they are today. And you'll hear about Tom and Sam's previous party life and how they eventually were pulled out of that and were awakened to the truth of the Torah, and how that changed every aspect of their lives. Why do I have my phone out when I'm recording an ad for the sponsor of this podcast? Because I cannot stop looking at all of the awesome posts on the Whole Bible Community app. It's out, baby. It's out for the iPhone, and it will soon be out for Google Play. I'll keep you abreast of when it comes out. What is Whole Bible Community? Whole Bible Community is app-based. It's browser-based. It is basically Facebook for the Torah community, minus all the perverted stuff on Facebook, or the distracting stuff, or just the non-uplifting stuff. I just want you to know, when I scroll through the feed, which is similar to any social media feed, I see a weekly Bible reading by Al McCarn. I see a weekly memory verse that says, "Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." 2 Corinthians 3:17. The next thing is also a Bible verse, Psalm 15. I see the zeal of Phineas, a teaching. It's like, this is the stuff that you're going to get on here. But you don't just have to post stuff as an individual. You can sign up as a group, and that's really a big point of this. So that you can not only find groups, but your group can use the app to connect with its members and to connect with new members. So if I'm traveling and I want to go to a new group in Georgia, I can look up my location in Georgia, see what groups are around, and then reach out to them right on the app. I don't have to call someone on their personal line or their email, because this gives one layer of anonymity to you as a group runner, so you don't have your personal information out there for everyone to see. If you're a business, you can put your business on here, and soon there will be a marketplace page. That's in the works. There's an events page where you can look up Passovers according to whichever calendar you choose. You can look up not just Passover, Sukkot, all the feast days, and the other events. They have youth camps on here. They're all coming up. So go to check out wholebiblecommunity.com. Check out the app in the App Store. Friend me on there. Meet other believers. Interact on the thing. Update the thing rather than updating Facebook. Keep it all within the Torah Observant family. Go to wholebiblecommunity.com and sign up. It's free. So without further ado, I give you Tom and Sam. Tom and Sam, welcome to the Life Podcast. Thank you for joining me all the way from down under.
Hello. It's good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm excited to hear your story. I have so many questions, but I have to follow the rubric. I have to ask you, can you tell us how you got saved? And can you then tell us how you realize the law is relevant to our modern day lives still? That's the question.
I grew up in a Christian family. So we were just like regular sort of like Pentecostal, Baptist type, sort of mainstream Christian theology. And we went to church. I was actually homeschooled as well. So we were a little bit extra on the crazy spectrum, right? I never went to school. So I was Christian homeschooler. We did a program called ACE. So some people might know of ACE. We followed that a little bit. And I had a pretty good upbringing. Like, my parents were great. Like I said, we went to church, went to Bible studies, we listened to Christian music, like Don Francisco, Colin Buchanan. Like, I had the scriptures in my ears, and I knew God was real. I had no doubts about that. And if I see me looking here, because I had some notes, things I don't want to miss. but yeah, I grew up in a family of faith, and I'd say like I certainly believed, but as I got older, it became just like a social event. Was more interested in just going to hang out with friends and stuff, and my faith sort of um, wasn't my own. It was what I was raised in, if I could put it like that. But I'll let Samantha give a bit of a summary of her. And that's sort of like me to 16 years old, but I'll let Samantha give a summary.
I was raised in a Catholic home. Both my parents were Catholic. I did all my sacraments, so things like your Holy Communion, confirmation. And at the time, I was enrolled in a public government school, so there was like no religious influence from the school. So my parents enrolled me in religious classes after school. So once a week for about 6 years, I would go to these extra classes, and this is where I would learn basically all the stories of Jesus, parables, the stories of the prophets, things like that. So I did get a really good foundation of the Bible as a child, I suppose. And we always went to like Christmas services and Easter services, things like that. This probably only lasts until I'm about 14, because after that, I no longer need to go to these classes. And then, of course, because I'm not going to these classes, I don't have a great interest in searching for it myself, I suppose. So yeah, that brings us up to, I'm 15, 16 now.
Yeah.
And at this time, we're living in Melbourne, Victoria.
Yeah.
Australia.
So we're actually living like not too far. We didn't know each other at this time, but we grew up basically a couple suburbs apart in Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah. So then when I turned like 16, I start working. So my dad was a bricklayer, my brothers were bricklayers. And so I was like going to go join the family trade. And I went and started bricklaying. And this was good, but it was also bad because I was like, now I was working, I had money, and I was not really interested in church or religion or God or anything like that. I was heavily invested in sport, playing every old sport I can, and my interests were more just looking to be accepted by the world, I suppose. The wrong crowds. I didn't want to, like, I'd go to say like a Bible study and I wasn't there to learn. I was just hanging out with the cool kids out the back, waiting for church to be finished so I can go kick the footy. And I started to sort of get, in hindsight, I can see that I was just trying to please, instead of what I should have been trying to please my Heavenly Father, but I was trying to please the cool kids at wherever I was. And this sort of is the beginning of my downfall, I suppose, because I had, I didn't have enough good peers, or I wasn't esteeming them or trying to be like them. And so I was decided to just, what was I doing? I was just really out looking for the party, basically, and leaving everything else behind. But it's also just worth noting that when I was about 16, my parents started keeping the Sabbath. So I'll give you a quick story about them. Basically, my mum had a friend who started keeping the Sabbath, and then my mum was like to my dad, "I think we should keep the Sabbath." And then my dad's like, "Nah, you don't have to do that. That's done away with. That's not true, whatever." And then my dad went to prove that you don't have to keep the Sabbath. And then shortly after, you have to keep the Sabbath, as per usual. The story of do the research and realize that it still applies. And so then my family starts keeping the Sabbath at this point. But this is just my parents. So I'm the youngest of 5 children, the fourth youngest of 5 children. And so most of us are like, old, working, moving out the house sort of thing. But my parents start keeping Shabbat on Friday nights. And so my parents are keeping Shabbat, but I'm like, Dad would make us sit there for dinner. So like I'd sit there for dinner, Dad's talking. I'm just like, yeah, hurry up and finish, Dad. I've got places to go. And then once Dad would finish, I'd be off to the sporting events, just looking to get into trouble, basically. I'll let Samantha go, sort of there, 16 to 18.
16 to 18.
Yeah.
By this age, I don't have a relationship with Jesus or Yeshua or the Father. I am just doing my own thing. I can remember a story. So most of my family lives in Malta. So we went there for a holiday to visit. And at the time I was like 17, and my nanu, or my grandfather, he's quite Catholic, I suppose. And I remember foolishly arguing with him that there was no way that, you know, Jesus walks on water. that was a fairy tale. Which is just so embarrassing and so sad when I look back, because he was quite upset. And I remember him saying to my mum, "It's really bad. She doesn't believe, you know, all this stuff." But at the time I was like, "Look, I know all those stories, and that's the main thing, as long as you know them. But you don't, you know, it didn't really happen like that." So I just say that story to kind of show you where I was at. Like, I knew the stories, they were like in my mind permanently, but I just didn't believe them. I didn't believe the scriptures, I suppose. And then, yeah, after that, I was full-time working. I was a manager. So, like, I had a good wage for my age as an 18-year-old. I just didn't have many worries or trials or problems, to be honest. So I just didn't really feel the need to, you know, I didn't need the Father, I suppose. I felt like life was really good. So I was just living my life as it was by this age.
Yeah. Basically, when I turned 18, I get what I wanted now, because I just want to be out drinking. I want to be out at the parties, and I'm 18 now. I've got the freedom, so I'm gone. I've already been drinking for a couple of years, going to sort of parties. I've been introduced to drugs. I'm sort of like getting heavily involved in the party scene now, I suppose. My life is not does not reflect the upbringing that I had. Doesn't reflect the beliefs that I was supposed to be having, or the actions that I should have been having. And so my life at this point, there's a thumb there. Yeah, my life at this point, it's completely chalk and cheese. It's completely different of today. I'm basically just playing sport, going to after work, going to the pub, drinking, out, going to looking for a party, going to events. Now, I was a homeschooled kid that wanted to be invited to all the cool parties, and now I've made it. I'm cool now. I'm invited to the parties. I get to go drink and do drugs and go out clubbing and all these things. And I was pretty happy with myself. I was actually, I was quite happy with myself. I thought I was doing a good job. I was liked and accepted by all the wrong people, which is quite sad when you look back at it like that now. But that's how I was at the time. But also, when I was about 18, I was getting ready to go out to the club, to a party. I was at a mate's place, and we were doing pretty well. We had a few pretty ladies coming over to go out clubbing with us, and Samantha was one of them. So she come over to what was called like pre-drinks. So we're having like drinks at a house before we head out, and she come in with her girlfriends, and that was the first night we actually met. We went out together, and we went like with our friendship group, whatever. We went out and partied the night away, I suppose. But nothing crazy happened then. We just met. We only spoke briefly, but our relationship sort of had begun, I suppose.
I met Thomas at this time. I was going to uni, so I don't even know how my poor body did all this. I would, wake up at 5 a.m. to go to uni. I would, finish by 2, quickly get home, get changed, go to work, finish work by 9 o'clock, quickly get changed, go out clubbing till, the next morning, repeat, put your alarm for uni. Kind of just, that was the life I was living. And obviously Thomas and I started to become more closer. So I did start to go out a little bit more. I was definitely interested in following where he was going. So that's, I think, that was just where I was at. I was just in the cycle was just insane. Like there was no rest or no stopping. It was a bit like that.
This podcast is also sponsored by the Life Network. We've been calling it Biblically Clean Streaming. We've been calling it Torah Observant Netflix. What is it? What it really is a way to remap the landscape of the entertainment industry, not only for you and your children, but for their children, so that they won't have only perverse options to choose from. They won't have to choose between the maybe subliminally explicit Disney cartoons and the definitely explicit Netflix shows. They will be able to choose entertainment that aligns with their values and also does not spare on story and quality. That is our vision. It is a big vision. It's difficult to do. It's a startup business. It's being built in real time. We're editing these shows every day. We're filming these shows every week. We're putting out content every month. Each show, like Groundwork, a Homestead tour show, It comes out every month. 2x2, a matchmaking show, it comes out every month. Katie's Ladies Talk Show, it comes out every month. Now we have Jackson Pollock making his Mr. Fritter shows, which is a kids show that comes out every month. But during the month of April, he's going to have a show every single week. Boom, 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 boom. They're hilarious. He plays all these different characters. I can't wait for you guys to see this. The greatest thing about becoming like a founding member of this and helping us build the foundation of it is that you guys get to decide what we make. So you can use your brains and what you want to see, and you can force our bodies to do it. We did a poll and people voted. They voted for Kids Show the most. Cooking Show was pretty close though. So next month we're going to do a poll and we're going to say, do you guys want a cooking show or do you want this or that? And we'll pitch 2 other ideas. And we'll see what people vote for, and then we'll start in the process of making the next thing. So none of this can happen without you guys building the foundations of it. Everyone that we've been working with so far is Torah Observant. The editors, our videographer, Dawson Schmidt, the ladies that are programming the site, is all ladies that are programming the site. They're killing it, by the way. Oh, we're getting a Roku app soon. So that's in the works. If you were on the fence because you thought, oh, they don't have Roku, well, we're going to have it. Thanks to Brittany. She's building it right now. So go to watchthelife.com and you can sign up. Sign up for, you can sign up for a month. You can sign up for a year. If you become a premium subscriber, then you can meet with Katie and I once a month on these live streams that we do. And we will send you this unbelievably beautiful mug that says Choose Life. Go to watchthelife.com and become part of this movement to move away from taking whatever Hollywood will hand us. Or any nice little, family-friendly movie they decide that they'll make every 10 years. Let's make our own thing. Let's make this happen. And if any of your children are artistic and want to work in this industry, then help build the foundation of something that maybe can employ them in the future. Go to watchthelife.com.
Yeah.
And Tom, you're playing sports, you're bricklaying, and then you're partying, and you're getting to know Samantha now.
Yeah, so I'm spot on. I'm doing all of that. And whilst our relationship is sort of growing, my relationship with drugs is sort of getting worse, becoming sort of growing in a list of things I shouldn't be doing all too frequently and casually. And so this sort of builds into sort of a more very unhealthy lifestyle and habits. And then when we're like sort of about 19 or so, I was like, I had faith. I was always the guy that was like a Christian, right? I would say that I'm a Christian, but I'm like the James verse, man has faith but no deeds. There's faith that works. And there's a verse there in James where it says, even the demons believe. And that is like, I'll feel like, and it's harsh to say that about yourself, but like I was the biggest hypocrite. I was the guy that did believe, but there's nothing I did that reflected that. But my conscience did play on me a bit. Like when I'd go to these events or parties or so be it, I would kind of know that I was doing the wrong thing. But I was always like, I'm just having fun. Like, one day I'll repent and be a good Christian or whatever. I'll just keep having fun and following the cool crowd, I suppose. But sort of the beginning of the downfall, I suppose.
I might just add in something. Because so by now, 19, we're officially dating. You kind of left that out. So we're like girlfriend and boyfriend. I suppose you can say. Sounds funny to say, but yeah. And I basically we're living as a married couple at this time now.
Yeah.
And I get to know Tom's family. And one of the things is I come over for Friday night Shabbats, I suppose, or Friday night dinners. And I think because of my Catholic upbringing, it wasn't too weird. I was like, oh yeah, I know the Bible, like happy to read that. It was quite funny though, like anytime Tom's dad talked about scriptures or stories I'd never heard of, I would be like, what Bible is he reading from, Tom? Like, I don't think that's real. What is that, Because it's just so different to anything I had heard. But I also remember thinking like, okay, this was like the max level of Christianness I was happy with. Like if this was Tom, just this random Friday night thing we did, that was fine. But anything more, I was like, that's a bit weird. So I was always,
Yeah.
I was always happy to go to Shabbat's for Friday night dinner, as long as we went out afterwards on Friday night.
Yeah.
Your poor parents, I feel like such disrespect back then. We love them now. It's a great relationship.
Well, we always loved them. We always loved them.
We always
They're
loved
looking after our children in the other room.
Yeah.
They've done a great service to us. We love them very much.
But I do just remember that time as like, it was fine because, you know, but also just to back off what Thomas was saying there about he was still the guy who had convictions and he was happy to share them. Like, I can remember times, you know, we'd be at drink ups, like in someone's backyard, there'd be a campfire. You know, my friends would come up to me and be like, Sam, your boyfriend's doing that weird thing again. He's arguing over the campfire whether, you know, evolution created the eyeball or if God designed it. So like he was still actively doing that. Mind you, he's probably blind drunk having these discussions. So not the best representation, but he still had these convictions. But for me, like when these things happened, it was like a decision-making point for me, I suppose, because I either had to be someone who was going to support my boyfriend, so in front of people be like, yeah, I believe that too, he's right, or was I going to be like, you know, like I still, not that I understood what the man being the leader was or like proper respect back then, I still understood I was either going to be like with him or for him or go the other way and leave him, I suppose. But there was something inside me that still, I feel like the truth he was saying I believed in, I suppose. So I was always happy to back him up, even though he was the weirdo in our group a little bit like that. But that just kind of shows you where Thomas was at. He still always was happy to share his convictions, even if he wasn't living the perfect life. And I always saw that, even when we were young. Like I seen that in you, and I think that's actually honestly what attracted me to you, because you had truth, even though it wasn't perfect. It was there. It was really there. And so that's how
I wouldn't want to
it.
hear what I was saying. I wouldn't want to hear that on repeat. It would be very cringe, I'm sure. But that's just where we were at.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that it was so deeply ingrained in you, whether you're sober or drunk, you're still getting across something that you believe. I mean, that is, you know, that it means that it was deeply ingrained in you. That's what it means.
Yes.
Exactly.
I just wanted to emphasize that it's easy for me to see, looking back now, that there was a faith that I had instilled in me, or I had scriptures instilled in me, but I was not repentant. I was not obedient. I was not, very rarely, if ever, was I coming before the Father in prayer. And that's sort of evident in my lifestyle. Yeah, it's just I just say that to give you a picture of where I was at the time. But then it's sort of like it becomes a quick downfall, as that kind of lifestyle brings, quick downfalls generally. And the first story that I'll probably share is the beginning of repentance, I suppose, for me, was in Melbourne. Actually, I think it's Australia-wide. There's a festival. I don't know if they have it in America.
No, I think it's Australia.
Just Australia. They have this festival called Falls Festival. And it's like a music festival. They do it New Year's Eve. And it's pretty big. Like it's probably one of the biggest festivals in Australia. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of people at this festival are like relatively normal people just having a good time. And then there's the party scene as well. And then so I was at this festival, and obviously I'm sort of in the party scene side of it. And one night at the festival, I'm like not at the festival, basically. I'm over in some tents out the back, just doing lots of drugs, basically. Not sober at all. And I start to basically lose control of myself. It's hard to explain for people who haven't sort of had these experiences, but I'm sort of like hallucinating, start to sort of lose grip of reality a little bit. But my conscience was often playing on me, and I would say my conscience, but I also think it's the Holy Spirit. Something inside of me knows what I'm doing is wrong, and when things get really bad, tries to pull me out of it, I suppose. And so I'm there, and I start hallucinating really bad, and I'm just basically tripping. I'm off my head, sort of thing. And then I start to think that I'm dead, and I basically believe in this moment, which is not it's not obviously really happened. It's just in my head. I start to think that I'm dead. And I'm like, oh, I've gone to hell and I'm dead. Which I know it might sound funny to people. It's really not a funny thing to experience. And then I'm like freaking out a little bit. I'm quite like having a little. I'm freaking out, but I'm also so disappointed. I remember just thinking like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm dead. I've died. I was always going to repent. Like I was always going to go home. Like I was always going to
You're
be a
planning
Christian.
to.
I was going to be a good guy, and now I've died in my sins. Like this is ridiculous. Like I'm, I was like gobsmacked in myself. And so I'm in this tent at this camp, just thinking I'm dead, and I remember hearing like somewhere in my upbringing, I heard this story of this lady who said, when she was like, I don't remember the story exactly, but when she was scared or she was alone or something, she would say, "Help me, Lord Jesus, help me." And that's just what I knew in my head. So I'm like in this tent, no grip of reality. And I'm saying to myself, "Hey, help me, Lord Jesus, help me." I'm just saying that because I just think I'm dead. I'm like, I've got to get out of this situation. And then sort of long story short, I mean, actually, while I'm saying, "Help me, Lord Jesus, help me," I'm whispering it because I know that there's people like around me and I don't want them to hear me saying that because that's like not cool, you know? So I'm whispering this to myself, and then sort of, yeah, long story short, I get myself out of this situation. I like get out of the tent. I run all the way back to my tent, get back into my tent. And I believe that like in that moment, I believed that like Jesus helped me get out of hell sort of thing and got me back to my tent, and I was safe. And I was like in my tent now, and I'd like escaped that bad place, and I was like safe. And then I rang my dad and I was like, Dad, I was speaking to Jesus. He's real. and my dad's probably just thinking like, what is going on? He's not aware of the lifestyle that I'm involved in.
To that extent.
To that
They
extent.
know where you are, but
They know where I am, but they don't know what's sort of what I'm involved in. And then I remember Dad's actually saying something to me like, I know he's real, mate. And I'm just like, yeah, he's real. And obviously but the other thing that's worth noting here is that my secret's out now. You know, my evil sin, Dad knows that I'm not sober at the time, and sort of the story evolves and my big dirty secrets and my sin sort of gets exposed. And so that was sort of the beginning of my repentance, but it's also not, I didn't properly repent as we'll continue on, and I'll share a bit more. But that was sort of a first notable story in the beginning of the end for me.
Mm.
Is there something you wanted to share there?
Yeah, I was at this festival with Thomas. I was not with him at the time of the story he shared. I was actually back at the main festival. But when he did come back and called his dad, I was with him. And I do remember thinking, well, that phone call was a little bit full on. Like, that was a bit more than I've ever seen from Tom. Like, he's even telling me he's seen Jesus and he's really real. And, you know, some changes might need to happen. He's starting to talk to me like this. And I'm like, okay, please feel better tomorrow, sweetie, and don't talk like that again. You know, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. That was just a carry on from there, really, yeah.
Before, just for clarity for anyone that's listening, because I'm going to tell some more stories too. In these moments, I do believe that drugs and stuff can be a gateway into spiritual things. But I don't believe I went anywhere different. I don't believe that I was seeing anything that was really different. I do believe that it's primarily just hallucinations. So when I say that I was speaking to Jesus or something, or I was in hell, these things, I just want people to think that I think I went there, or I was really seeing these things. I do believe it was more my conscience and my spirit, or Yah's spirit in me, and something working. But I'm not trying to suggest that any of this stuff really happened to that extent, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, I didn't repent. So like I went home, my sin was exposed. I had to sort of tell my parents like what I've been involved in, what's going on. And I sort of downplay it a little bit. And I don't want to change my life. I want to keep partying. I'm cool. I've got friends. I've got places to go, people to do. I've got a cool girlfriend and parties to go to. And I'm not worried about church or repentance or anything like that still. So then I'm off to this next music festival.
We are still going to like Shabbats every Friday, really, at this time too.
Yeah,
whenever
there's not something else better on, basically.
Yeah, we enjoyed going there. So I'd just say like that was still happening. We were never like no to it.
Yeah, like we were very respectful to my parents, I would say.
Yeah.
To limited respect in hindsight, but but yes, we were like, our family, a lot of our family members were Christian, I suppose. So we still had a Christian environment. We might go to a church every now and then or something like that. But we didn't have, we weren't studying the Bible for ourselves or anything like that. We were just in our sin. We'll go to this next music festival. And this festival is ironically called Babylon. It's called Babylon Music Festival. So you can sort of see where our life is heading by the name of that festival.
I would just like to say, just give you a little point where I'm at. Tom obviously knew all these stories much better than I.
Limited, but I knew Babylon wasn't a good place.
I knew Babylon was a good place. In my mind, I'm like, all I thought of was that song, by the rivers of Babylon. I'm like, oh, it sounds sweet and nice. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what Babylon is at this time. Tom just says to me, oh, it's in the Bible. In my brain thinks, oh, I'm pretty sure it sounds like a nice place.
Yeah. I knew that it was not a good place. I did not know. Like, I had not read the Bible for myself. So I just knew Babylon's a bad place. But that's all I knew. But in hindsight now, it's quite ironic. So anyway, I had this music festival called Babylon, and the party is continuing, sort of the same sort of environment, same sort of thing. Nothing good or that we're proud about happening here. And they'll give you like a little bit more insight, even at this festival. There's like different music and events and sort of activities, you could call it, I suppose. And there was one like massive, there's like a stage thing, and it was like decorated as a church.
A blow up church.
It was like a blow up church, yeah. And so there was like music in there or something. I don't know what was in there. But I was like, some of my friends went into this thing, and I was like, I'm not going in there because I know God's real, and like I can do my sin over here, but like if I go into that church, that's too much for my conscience. Like I'm not going in that church, like I'll disrespect God everywhere else, but not in the church. I'm better than that. And so I that's where I drew the line, which is just ridiculous. But anyway.
And at the time, I remember all of our friends, because you would like go in there, pretend to get married, and they'd like take a photo. And so all our friends got married there, and I was pretty upset you didn't want to go in there and marry me, because it was heartbreaking for me. But but yeah, that was like just showing you where Tom is at. He was literally like to me, we are not going in there. Actually, he was like, we are not going in there. So he was very much like, there is a line that has to be drawn.
Yeah, I wish I had drew the line much further back, but this is unfortunately the story.
Yeah.
So anyway, the show goes on, and then eventually, like on one of the nights, I think it was like one of the first nights of this, because these festivals are like multiple day type bush. They're like bush doofs, like just.
I don't know if that's a term.
I don't know if a bush doof's a term in America. In Australia we call them a bush doof. Basically, it's like
a party in the bush.
They go into the bush. You set up your camps. They play loud music. Everyone dances around on drugs naked, pretty much. Not full naked, but like minimal clothing, minimal. It's not a godly environment. Okay, if it's summer clothing.
Okay.
It's not a bush doofs are more of the like. There's not a person there that's sober. They're not holy environments. They would actually be actively the opposite. So anyway, one night at this bush doof party, the music's playing, and there's like a big stage. All these people are dancing around. It's like, in the bush, they got like tarps and things set up, and everyone's just like, I don't know if you guys have seen videos of anything like this, but everyone's like just dancing and bopping, and everyone's like hippies, like dressed up a bit alternative, hippie, new agey, like that. And we're going along with this crowd. And then just one of the nights, I just remember I was looking at the stage where the DJ sort of person was playing music, and I was looking at the crowd, and I was just sort of like watching it. I was seeing this a lot of times. It wasn't an unfamiliar thing to me. But then I just remember seeing it for what it was. I was like, this is proper. This is like idolatry. This is like evil. This is worshiping another god. Like this is not. This is. I just had a moment, like a little moment of clarity in all of my confusion. And I was like, this is really bad. Like I'm not just in sin here. Like I'm actually actively worshiping something else.
Yeah.
I'm involved in something that's demonic. And I was like, no, that's too far for me. I can't do demonic stuff. And so I remember I I ran, I don't know, found Samantha, and I was like, grabbed her, and I was like, "Come to the tent. You've got to come back to the tent with me. You got to come back." And I got her to come back to the tent, and
You just
we,
kept saying to me, "You don't understand. You don't
yeah,
understand, but just come back."
yeah, I got to speak to you. We got in the tent, and I mean, I'm a bit intoxicated, but I'm also, I can speak. I'm normal enough to handle conversation. I'm telling Samantha, we can't be here. You don't know, like, you can't see this for what it is. You don't know how bad this place is, but I know, like, I know better than this. I know better than this. We shouldn't be here. We've got to go. We
And
can't be here anymore.
And I'm just like, "But Thomas, this is the main DJ. This is the main event. What are you doing?"
Yeah. I was ruining Samantha's party, but I had this little moment of clarity, where I was like, we've got to get out of here. Unfortunately, we didn't get out of here. And I wish that I had have just got out and just left then, but we stayed the night in a tent that night. And the next morning, I think honestly, the reason I didn't go home that morning is because I was still more worried about what people thought of me than what God thought of me, because I was too embarrassed, I think, to be like, we're leaving, and like, what's your reason? Oh, I'm too religious for this. Like, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed to tell the truth or something. So we just stayed, and continued on in our sin, which is, I know it might sound shocking, but at the time that was the best that I could do, which was not good enough. So we stayed, we continued in that. And then the final straw would be like the final episode, I suppose, that had to happen before,
The big
a
turnaround.
bit of repentance actually taking place, was again like another sort of event, a party event. Um, there's this like nightclub in Melbourne. It's called like Tramp. Anyway, it's quite an evil place. On Sunday, this goes all night. So in the morning, on Sunday mornings, they call it Sunday morning service or Sunday morning church. And so, you're out all weekend and you're still there Sunday morning church time in this building. And it's not a holy place by any stretch. It's actively demonic. Because they pervert things, like on the walls there's scriptures, on the walls there's images of like angelic things, and just a perversion. It's just a perversion of the truth, basically. It's just evil. And in this environment, my conscience, I wish it didn't take me to get to this point, but in this environment was apparently this is as bad as my life had to get before I would repent. So I was here, and I remember just sort of losing control of my mind again. So I would just, the combination of the drugs that we were doing and my conscience, because I would do heavy amount of drugs quite a fair bit, but then in these environments, my conscience or my spirit or whatever, I don't know, I can't explain it exactly, but I would lose control of my mind when it got that evil. And so I was like, started to say to Samantha, like, I started hallucinating. I'm like, everyone in here's demons. I thought the people in here were demons. I was like seeing things. Again, I'm not saying that they're really demons. That's just what I seen that's what it looked like to me. And I was like, we've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. And I start to, basically I lose my mind. I become like, not a nuisance, but hard for Samantha to calm down, I suppose.
Normally I can calm him down and it's all right, but he was not calming down very well.
Yeah. So eventually we're out on the streets on Sunday morning. I'm a very sad, I don't know, like a 19-year-old boy, just a lost boy off his head, fumbling around on the streets with my friends and my girlfriend trying to look after me.
So young.
Just it's heartbreaking when you think about it, because it's just a sad little lost, broken boy. And Samantha couldn't get sort of the situation under control either. We had some friends with us as well. And then they had to call my parents. So my parents drove into the city. They come and helped get me, I suppose, which would have been terrible, as you can imagine, for my parents to have to go through that. And then they, it's just not a proud thing to do. It would have been very, very sad for them, I'm sure. But anyway, they take me home. I go home. There's a lot of things that go on in this night, but sort of cut a long story short, I wake up like the next day or so. I look down at my feet. I see my shoes are still on my feet, and I'm like, okay, that's real. That just happened. I've humiliated my wife, humiliated myself,
Girlfriend.
my girlfriend, my parents, my whole family knows that I'm this out of control kid. That things are not good. And I've not only have I like shamed everybody else, like this is ultimate shame for me. I'm a very prideful young man. And just to be very humbled, very humiliated. Just a sad thing. This was thankfully I needed that much humiliation for me to be like, all right, Tom, your ways aren't good. Whatever you thought, the way you thought would bring success does not bring success. And so I did actually repent after this. And so this is the beginning of my my repentance. I think of that the story of the prodigal son, where it says a famine came on the land, and then things went bad for him. It's kind of like, they're not saying that you need the famine, but the famine is what brought on his repentance per se. If the famine never came, maybe he'd continue partying, So I'm sort of glad that a downfall came for me eventually. And then I remember just like on the couch, I sort of said a prayer and I was like, I'm going to stop doing this. And my journey of repentance began. And I said, I've got to stop doing drugs. I've got to stop partying. I've got to stop my sin. My big evil sins. I've got to stop those and get my life on track. And so I had to sort of tell Samantha, I'm like, Sam, I'm going to start being a Christian now. I'm going to leave this life of sin behind. And this also meant that I was no longer going to be staying over at Samantha's house, or we're going to have to be hanging out as much and stuff like this. So that was it was too much. I was too weird. For Thomas to come and say, we're leaving all of our friends and all of our evil sin behind, and I'm also not sleeping over. That was a bit too much of a one hit for Samantha. So we actually did break up. I don't know, do you want to tell a bit of a story here or something?
No, what you're saying is right. We broke up. It was just too much for me. I wasn't ready to adapt to that lifestyle, I suppose. I did plead with him and try change his mind, but he was very certain that, the new Christian life he was going to walk was one he really wanted to do. So we did have some time apart. During our time apart, I still was like, friends with him on social media and stuff. So I see what he was up to. I had my eye on him, still watching him. I kind of resumed back to my normal life, the same group of friends we were with before. But over time, I actually did see, I'll call it fruit now, the fruit that Tom started to produce in his life compared to the boys, the group of friends I was with in my life. Like the fruit was just so different. And I actually started to understand what Tom was trying to tell me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go, because he'd asked me to read the Bible together, like to start doing that. And I didn't really want to. I thought, you know what? I can see whatever he's chasing here, there is some reward at the end, and I can see it in his life. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see what he's chasing. I'll see if I feel the same way. You know what? What's there to lose? So it was only a 4-month breakup. So it wasn't that long. And after 4 months, I was like, all right, let's read the Bible. Let's start hanging out a bit. I'll come to some of your Bible studies that you're going to. I can see. And then, I'll let you talk from there.
Yeah. So at this time, I would say, now that my faith is real, I've got to own my own faith, I started to identify that my parents were going to church and going to Bible studies, but these were not Torah Observant churches or Torah Observant Bible studies. My parents were still sort of in the early stages of their Torah walk, if you can say it like that. This wasn't a big community, I suppose, too, is just the other factor. And so I started to be actually something that I do want to emphasize here, because I think it's important to remember, is that I was actually taught the Torah growing up, and I still, in hindsight, I can see that the Torah is something that saved me. I think sometimes when we're Torah observant people, we emphasize the parts that we didn't apply as children, or didn't know growing up. But I mean, I was taught 9 out of 10 commandments. And there's more than that, but of the famous 10, right? I'm taught 9 out of 10, and I kind of felt like I was keeping the Sabbath when I went to church. And so I did get taught that the Torah was instilled in me as a child, just not the fullness of it. And also another thing that was big for me, like Sam said, the evolution and creation. If some people like to refer to Torah as like Yahweh's loving instructions, but it's also used to reference like the first 5 books. And if you teach your children that God created the world in 6 days, if you teach your children that, you're also teaching them Torah. I mean, that's from the Torah. And so sometimes when we say I wasn't raised in Torah, we do a disservice to ourselves, to the truth, because the truth is I was raised believing God created the world, and that comes straight from the Torah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, so even though it was not the understanding that I have today, the foundation is still quite similar. It's the same foundation, isn't it? And so there's it's still a testimony to the Torah, even though we didn't know it as we do today. So I started going to these Bible studies, getting involved in it all, and I sort of got to figure it out for myself now. So I'm like, what's truth? And one of the big things that was going on is that my parents are Sabbath keepers, right? So they've lost some friends, gained some friends. Their life's sort of in that weird limbo of, becoming a Jew in everyone else's eyes, and then they're just think they're Christians that are following Jesus and the Torah. So I sort of realized that there was this distinction going on. It was like, okay, my parents keeping the Sabbath, nobody else believes this. I'll have to figure out what's the truth here. Like, am I going to be the Sabbath person or do the Bible studies? So I had to do that for myself. So then I sort of did my little research on the Sabbath, read a bit. I watched some YouTube debates, all that kind of stuff that what most people do. I came to my conclusions that the Sabbath day was applicable and still had to be kept. And so this is and it's an interesting insight, I suppose, is that I was like I was the prodigal son. I've returned. Thomas has gone into the world. He's back at Bible study. My mum's rejoicing. Everyone's rejoicing. Angels in heaven are rejoicing. And I'm there, but I'm also like, all right, well, I think that you have to keep the Sabbath, but I'm not getting baptized because I'm like, I never got baptized. My parents didn't pressure me, but it was always like a thing that, you should do. If you're going to follow Jesus, you should get baptized. And I was like, oh, well, I'm convicted that the Sabbath day is what you should do if you want to follow Jesus. But I was like, well, I can't get baptized and say, I'm going to give you, I can't say, I'll give you my life. But I'm not giving you my Saturday. And that just was how I felt. And it's not that I don't think that the Sabbath day is a golden ticket to heaven. I'm not saying you have to. That's the one-way entry point. But from my understanding, I was like, okay, I've got to consider the cost. Am I going to pick up my cross? For me, the knowledge that I had was that's a commandment. And so for me, it felt like if I went and got baptized on Friday night and then Saturday I just went out, I was like, well, that baptism wasn't even real for me because I still wasn't really, I still wanted to sort of go to some events on Saturdays, go to the footy or go to, some event with my friends or something. I wanted to go to these things. And so I was sort of telling my Bible study friends or church friends, I'm like, I'm not getting baptized until I'm ready to keep the Sabbath. And then they would all be like, oh, you don't understand. Like, God meets you where you're at. Like, you can just get baptized and then he'll sort that out later. And while there's truth in that, I respect their answer. My heart at the time was like, I believe in you, God, but I'm like, I'm not giving you my Saturdays. Like, that's too much. That's too much. And so I wasn't willing to get baptized, even though I was repentant and I was all in for Jesus as much as I could at that time. Yeah. That's sort of the beginning of our Torah walk, our own Torah walk, if, in that sense.
So we started doing our own research. Well, obviously at this time you were feeling like we were meant to be doing the Sabbath, otherwise you wouldn't feel like that. And at this time I started reading the Bible for myself independently. I start from the start, so I'm reading from the start to finish because that seems logical for a book. And obviously if you start reading the Bible from the start, there is a lot of talk about the Sabbath. And it sounds very clear that you're meant to be keeping it. So here I am reading the Bible for the first time in my life, really. And I'm like, I don't even know why people are saying there's an argument you can't. Like I haven't seen any of that yet,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm pretty much like, oh, if you do it, I'll do it. Like I feel like we should. So, you know, I just don't have the other side because I haven't even heard the other side that you shouldn't keep it because I'm like new to all of this really, which is quite funny. I hadn't even really heard about a Sabbath day raised in Catholic in that sense. Like, yes, you went to Sunday church, but I hadn't even really heard of what a Sabbath was. I didn't have the preconceived idea that it's done away with. So to me, I'm reading, I'm like, I don't even know why it's an argument. It's obvious. We just do it.
You could almost call us, it's not quite second generation Torah, but what I mean is that growing up, we didn't have theology in the sense that I couldn't explain what I believed. I didn't know the scriptures. I couldn't quote a verse. We didn't know why we didn't do anything or why we didn't do it. We didn't know anything. We just had our parents' faith per se. So coming into our own faith now at like 20 years old, we didn't have to unlearn the lies too much.
Yeah,
right. We sort of just got to establish it, but we still had to learn the lies because we had to defend what we believed, as everyone sort of does. So I was like, where are we up to? One of the good things here is we're like, okay, we're all in for our faith now. Got to make an honest woman of my wife. We've got to get married. So quickly put a ring on it and then...
engaged at 21 on my 21st birthday. Got engaged and then we were married 7 months later. So married at 21.
Yeah. And before we got married, we actually had brought a van. So we brought like an old postie van. It's like a UPS courier van. And we brought one of those and the plan was to like deck it out and use it for like going on like trips and like traveling and stuff like that. So we get married and we get married the weekend of, just to give people like a timestamp, we get married the last weekend before COVID lockdowns.
Starts. Yeah.
So
March 2020, you could just say the date too.
Yeah. So we get married and then the weekend after, like all of Melbourne's locked down, there's no toilet paper, you know, you can't go anywhere, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
A few weeks ago, we interviewed Scott Laird, who you may know from A Rude Awakening, but he also has a business called Laird Wellness. He is a naturopathic doctor, and through interviewing all of these health care practitioners on A Rude Awakening, he realized that there was a need in the market, and that was an extremely comprehensive biomarker risk panel that you get from taking your blood. Katie and I both did this 55 biomarker risk panel with Scott.
When we go to your chronic disease risk assessment, by the way, Katie, you beat Luke here. So,
oh, dang.
Finally.
But my motivation partly was that long ago, Dr. Monzo told me that I was missing magnesium, potassium, and iodine in my diet, and that's why I had eczema. So that's been gone for years, but it had started to come back. And on my toe, which had never happened before. What I didn't realize, and what Scott showed me during this consult, is that I was low in vitamin D. And I guess vitamin D helps your immune system fight things like asthma and eczema. So I've started taking vitamin D since then, and already it's going away. Like it's been, 3 days, and it's going away. And so the cool thing is that Scott is not biased by a lot of the mainstream interpretations of these numbers. He knows them and references them. Like, for example, mainstream medicine would say, if my vitamin D is 30, I'm good to go. And it was 48. And Scott said, you're not good to go.
Vitamin D at 30, that it may be adequate to prevent rickets and anything seriously happening to you. It is not enough to protect you from anything.
The other cool thing about doing his 55 biomarker risk panel is he calls it into LabCorp. You go, you get your blood drawn, you pay nothing because you've already paid Scott, and they pay for that whole test. Plus, they go through it with you, and they walk you through what the results mean. And you could not buy this mini tests from LabCorp for the price that Scott charges. I think it would have cost like 3 times as much. Stop guessing about your health and letting mainstream doctors interpret your labs. Go to lairdwellness.com, Check out the 55 biomarker risk panel and put in code THELIFE to get 10% off.
Just snuck in.
The last weekend.
Like it was like the time where you were literally living normal life. It was such end time vibes. It feels like you're just living such normal lives. Got married on a Sunday. By Tuesday, the news was a bit like, oh, something's coming. Then on Wednesday, it was like immediate lockdown.
Yeah, yeah.
Like out of nowhere. We were like, we just got married 3 days ago.
We actually went to Bali for a honeymoon, and as soon as we got there, everyone was like, you gotta get home, you gotta get home, the world's gonna end. And we were just over there like sipping pina coladas, like, yeah, it's not too bad. But anyway, that's not that important. But that's about the time. So we had this van, and when we got back, we'd planned that we're going to get in this van and do a 6-month traveling trip. Start a bit of a, we're going to go up like from the bottom of Australia. So we're like in Melbourne, which is the south. And then we're going to go all the way up the middle to the top, to the north. And so for those who like aren't familiar, Australia is like the same size as like the USA. Like it's like from like west to east, north to south sort of thing. It's a very similar size. So you would probably know, be able to explain that better, because I'm not that familiar with American geographics, but
it's huge.
Anyway.
It's huge though.
yeah, it's quite big. But so we head off on this trip. We like deck our van out. We're going for 6 months on this holiday. We're going to travel in this van and have a holiday together. This young married couple off having fun. And this is the best thing that we did in hindsight. This was so good for us because
for our spiritual growth and
we were still entrenched with our friendship. We were like, it wasn't a clean slate. As anyone who's probably like, we didn't just leave our sin behind just one day and the next day we're just perfect, right? We're still not perfect, but there was a lot of fumbling and stumbling and falling back and getting back out, in and out, and it was a bit messy. And so that took a little while, but then once we got in this van and we just took off and we left everything behind on this little holiday, it was the best thing, because then it was just Samantha, me, and Yahweh in the van, cruising down the highway, and there was no pressure of what people think of us or what anyone else is saying.
Could really embrace our weirdness.
Yeah, we're all ready to get weird now. We're all in. There's no one watching, so we can just be like, all right, whatever we read next, we'll do.
Yeah.
So once we get from the south of Australia to the north of Australia, by the time we get to the top, we were like fishing with some people, and like they were catching crabs, and we ate some of the crabs, and then after that we were like, nah, we got to start eating clean. This is too far.
Well, there's even a funny story a little bit just before that. In Australia, there's like a famous dish called oyster Kilpatrick. I don't know if that's like known in America, but basically like it's oysters, but it's topped with like crispy bacon. But it's like a really classic Aussie thing. Like if you eat
like
oysters,
barbecue sauce.
Yeah, if you eat oysters, that's the way to eat it. And I remember it was like an anniversary or something, or a birthday, and we went to a restaurant and Tom was like, oh, we should get oysters or something. And then we were reading and they were like, oh, but it has bacon. And we're looking at each other. I'm like, oh, we'll just have to take the bacon
off. Get it without the bacon.
Yeah, so we're like, oh, we'll just have these oysters with no bacon. You can see our heart. Like we were like, oh, we're doing a good thing, but we just went 100%. I don't know.
Yeah, we're learning.
We're getting there. That was just funny. So we were like starting to try a little bit harder. Like obviously pork is always the first thing. You're like, oh, I know that. I know not pork, but I don't know. Didn't get the memo on the oyster. But by the time we got right to the very top, we were like, oh yeah, crab's bad. All those seafood stuff is bad. So, we gradually got there.
Because we're starting to read. We're starting to watch like videos online and learn about the Torah, and we're obviously learning these things, but without the pressure of other people. We're like, well, it's easy. We can stop eating. We can eat biblically clean. No one's going to judge us. It's like, you don't have to go to a friend's house and awkwardly say, oh, sorry, I can't eat that. Sorry, I can't eat that. It's easy to follow God. No one's watching now, so let's just do it. So it sounds silly, but as a blessing. It's like similar to like people need their time in the wilderness. Like the Israelites, they had their time in the wilderness. The Yah test them to see what's in their heart. It's like, it was good that we were in the wilderness. We had that time where it was just us and him, and it was forced us to be set apart. It forced us to be holy, because we didn't have the pressure of the world. And then we continued traveling, there's like some story, but it takes too long.
Well, I think it kind of builds where we're at with everything. Like, we were doing a lot of Bible studies in the van at that time too. And I remember we just started a bit of social media as well, like documenting our travels. We're starting to get a little bit of traction.
Or we're just posting, like, I started off just posting to family, but then you're like, hey, this could be something. You know, people like reading our posts. We should keep posting more.
And then I remember this one time I was doing a Bible study in the van, and Tom was like, oh, I'm going to take a photo of you doing a Bible study and I'll put it on our Insta story. And I was like, don't expose me like that. But then obviously something inside me was like, oh, you can't deny Jesus. Like, that's what you're doing. And I was like, fine. And I was like, just put it on the story, because I know it will expire in 24 hours, you know, so it's fine. And I remember at the time our stories would get like 800 views or something. I'm like, oh, hopefully no one sees it. That story literally got like 1,500 views. I was like, everyone knows. Like, so funny. But like from there it was kind of like a bit of relief, because I was like, okay, all my friends know what I do. Really,
we were letting down our pride.
Yes.
We were like, all right.
Yeah, I was like, I like to read the Bible, this is me. So that was funny. And during our travels as well, Thomas was still the same strong conviction, loved discussing everything with people, even if he wasn't keeping what he said perfectly. Like, I can remember some stories. We got to a campsite and there was another older man there who was a Christian, and he was quite passionate Christian too. And Tom was kind of saying to him like, oh, we're trying to keep the Sabbath. We're trying to eat clean. Like, you know, we're getting there type of thing. And this guy was like, oh yeah. And he's like, this is so funny. He literally said to Tom, have you read Galatians? Which is just so funny, because all those stops say like, have you read Galatians? Someone actually asked Thomas that. And Thomas was actually quite like humble. He was literally like, look, to be honest, I'm reading the Bible from start to back. And I'm really mainly read the Old Testament. And the guy was like to him, oh, I see your confusion. Once you get to Galatians, you'll see why. Tom already knew these arguments, but he was actually quite humble and he didn't say anything. But it just makes me think he was always just so passionate to share, and even if you weren't keeping things perfectly, you were happy to discuss these things. It's just like, you were always like that. Yeah. But that was just such a funny moment when I look back now. He literally said to you, have you read Galatians?
Yes, yeah. That's the fact. That's the sentence you need said to you when you know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
So yeah, we eventually, once we get to like Perth now, so this is like the west coast of Australia. So we're all the way on the west coast now, like the furthest point west. We're in Perth, and we love living on the road now. It's been like 6 months. We're like, we're going to do this full time. We're not going back home. We're just going to keep living this. We're kind of like still a bit like bored. We weren't hippies, but we were like, we like that free style living, right? And we were like, we're gonna get jobs working on the road. We've been trying to make some money online, and we said, let's get this job at a caravan park. And so we got this job at this caravan park, but we had also decided we're going to start keeping the Sabbath now. So we'd finally built up the courage to be like, no, it's the right thing to do. Stop being silly. Just follow the commandments and just follow God. And we rang up the caravan park and we're like, can we have the job? But also, we can't work Saturdays because we have to tell them. You can't not tell them why, like, because we're keeping the Sabbath day. Please let us work here.
We were so stressed to tell them. Like, for ages, we're like, great, we just got this job, now we're fired.
Yeah. So we get the job at the caravan park. We start with keeping the Sabbath now.
No,
and
they were really chill about that, by the way.
That was fine. Okay. And that is always the case. People have so many testimonies of like telling their boss that they need a day off or changing things. And we've heard so many good testimonies of people just Yahweh providing a way. All you have to do is just follow him, and it all works out in the end, as a lot of, I know your audience knows a lot. So at this point now, we're in like Western Australia, and we're all in. Like, I thought I was all in for Jesus before. I'm like, I'm happy to be a Jesus freak now. I know I'm Torah Observant now. I'm like, we understand different positions theologically, and we're all in. So I was like, now's a good time, I suppose. I can get baptized because now I'm all in. And I know I'm not trying to put an emphasis on that, like baptism is the golden ticket to salvation, but just showing you where my heart was, is that I was like, I've given you everything now. I'm all in. I fully recognize that my way is not good, and I'll follow yours. And so during this time working in Western Australia, we start keeping Sabbath. We get baptized. We baptize each other actually at the beach, which was quite funny actually, because the waves were really big that day. So we got baptized like a lot of times. But we needed a good washing. So that was all right. And then
We're eating clean now.
yeah. But we also, now that we're all in for God now, another conviction that just hit us was we should have a baby. So this is where we decided to have our first child as well.
Which is actually, it was like a really big decision for us because we're 23 at the time. None of our friends are married. No one we know has
No one
children.
in our family
not
has got
family,
children.
not even, no one our age is married or has children. So we're just like, this is really crazy, but I think we should do it.
Yeah. We think we're like pioneering life. We're not at all, but we feel like that.
I'm pregnant in Western Australia, and we decide that we'll start making our way back slowly back to Melbourne, which I think is like, almost like a 40-hour drive back home. So we're going to do that over a couple months,
Yeah.
So we have a couple months to get back home. And I feel like this is really where like our health journey starts. I feel like a lot of mums have this story. You don't really care for your own health all the time, but when you have a child or you're pregnant, your mind really starts thinking like, hold on, it's not just me. Like, am I looking after this baby well, So I get pregnant and I start considering the food we're eating, even though we're eating clean, biblically clean.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what's all this other food we're eating? Is it even food?
Is
like what?
E120 is 76342 biblical?
Is that going to grow a baby? Like what are all these things, So I start realizing, that the food industry is just a total scam and all the lies and deceptions and the poisons that we're eating. We go from 0 to 100. Like, I'm just like, nah, we're cooking from scratch. I'm like, I'm making everything.
Anything that's bad, just throw it away.
I go in the grocery store, it takes me 5 hours. So I have to read every bottle and Google every ingredient. I've never seen these things.
Grocery bills tripled.
I'm like learning so rapidly fast. I just can't believe it all. It's like just mind blowing to me. And during this time, this is also like a faith boost for us because we're like, oh yes, God's designed so good. Like, the food he designed is what we should be eating and that's what's going to nourish us.
Sorry. I was just going to say it's all hand in hand because we're learning to trust God's design in his Torah. And we're like, all right, clearly, like his commandments are for our good, right? We've got this understanding. His commandments are for our good. He has a design. He's the creator. And we're going to follow his Torah. But then we're also like, well, he's clearly got a design for food as well. So like we should get rid of all our traditions and everything we've added to that.
Yeah.
Let's just clean the slate and follow him in everything.
Yeah. And then I'm researching about birth. I'm like, what does the Bible say about birth? Like, what's the best way to do it? Like, should you go to hospital? Should you stay home? What's natural childbirth? Why does no one do it? So we're just getting passionate about anything natural.
This is during
now.
COVID time. So another thing, this is COVID time and we're like anti-prescribed medication. We're already on the fringe view of that. So it makes it easy to then the extremes keep coming, you know?
Yeah. You just get very passionate for anything that doesn't look like it's for God, Anyway, so we're very interested in all things natural now. We're making our way back home. We do plan
we
to
actually lose our jobs because of not taking recommended healthcare.
Really?
Yeah, because it was mandatory I'm not sure how it worked. Australia was pretty crazy with a lot of COVID stuff. Like there was lockdowns. You had to like wear masks everywhere, and like if you didn't get
the jabby jab,
then you would lose your job. So we lost our jobs because of that. So we had to. They were just like we
lost them twice, which was depressing. We lost them in Melbourne a few years before that.
No. Technically, I still had mine.
Anyway.
Anyway.
From there. And then the next state over adapted the same rules and got fired the next time again. That's life.
Yeah, it wasn't, we were still like hippie travelers. So losing a job for us, we were just like, off to the next place. Yeah. Someone else will give us a job. That's all right.
We were heading home now to have the baby. So we went back to Melbourne. We were planning to have a home birth, but in Australia, I know the healthcare system is so different in America, but there is programs in Australia where you get publicly funded midwives for a home birth. So you don't pay, it's all paid for, but the midwife will actually come to your home and you can have a home birth there through the hospital. Yeah,
that's great.
It's very good. Yes, I know having a baby seems very expensive in America. Sometimes I read some things and I'm like, it costs $0 whether you go to the hospital or at home through.
Depending on the care you want,
Yeah.
I suppose. But yeah, we'll elaborate maybe more later.
Yeah, there's more to that. But anyway, so I was really excited to like do this home birth program. But unfortunately, because of COVID, the program stopped because just whatever the reason is, you know how it is. So that was a little bit sad for us. But still, praise Yahweh, we had a fantastic birth at the hospital. It's like a 30-hour labor altogether. We stayed at home for literally 29 hours, just Tom and I. We went to the hospital like in the last hour, had the baby, went home 3 hours later. Everything went really, really well. And it still felt like God's perfect design.
Yeah, it was like a natural birth and everything was healthy. Everything went fine.
I guess it was just sometimes I like to bring up that it was a really good testimony in the hospital because I know in the birth space, you know, a lot of bad things can happen, but I also think good things can happen too. Like the healthcare system still has some great.
We weren't going in there uneducated as well. Like we were
going in there for my PhD. For sure.
yeah. We knew what we were going into, but we had a good testimony, a good experience. I think it's worth noting.
Yeah,
that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So then this is our faith now is like our faith is like just growing because you trust in God. He's good. You trust him with his food. He's good. You trust him to have a baby. He's good. And it just keeps, it compounds and you start to trust him in everything.
Yeah.
So now we have to have this decision. We're actually considering homesteading now. So I'm like, oh, maybe we should start a homestead. And I was kind of more on the like self-sufficiency, doomsday prepper kind of. That's probably most guys are probably leaning more towards like, we need our own meat. We need to grow food. And Sam was probably more coming from a health perspective, but as a team. And we considered it, but not. We ended up not deciding to do it. We ended up buying a bigger caravan, and we're like, "No, let's get a big caravan."
We bought like a family-sized van, like 3 bunks. We were like, "We're going to do this for years."
Yeah, we were all invested in this traveling lifestyle. We were just going to be It was called van life. I don't know if you have van life where you are, but we're going to be van lifers. Yeah.
While we were waiting for the caravan to be built, because this was now a 6-month wait period. So we had our son, and when he was like only about 5 weeks old, it was the festival of Sukkot. So Sukkot was.
We'd never done a Sukkot either. We weren't like feasting yet.
So we'd never done the Sukkot before. Now Tom's parents had been keeping a few Sukkots, not that we'd attended them, but on this particular year they actually flew interstate to do Sukkot with some friends. But I think being so newly fresh postpartum, I was like not up for the flight. So we just decided to go with our little family. We went down to a river with our car, and on our car there's an awning, which is basically just kind of like a tent cover.
Like a shade.
A shade with poles kind of thing. So we took out the car awning and we're like, oh, this is our super.
Yeah, that was our first feast. We had a Sukkot under the car awning.
Yeah, and we sat under the awning for like 3 hours. It was like freezing cold where we were.
We drove back home,
a 5-week-old. Tom went fishing, which I don't know really what we think of that now. But
depending on your people's opinion on Jubilees, fishing not so recommended on the Shabbat. But anyway.
But that's what we did. And we were like, oh, this is cool. And something I like to point out to Tom now is, even though that wasn't keeping Sukkot perfectly, our son has technically done every single feast since he was born. We only got much better at keeping the feasts from there. But technically, from the day he was born, he's never missed a feast, which is pretty cool because, he can say, I've kept all of Yahweh's feasts since I was born.
Yeah. He definitely looks forward to Sukkot now. We got Sukkot coming up soon, and they're looking forward to. That's a good, fun camping trip for them. So
that's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
So where are we up to? So basically, we hit the road. Mm-hmm. We're moving to this van. We're still not homesteading. Like Homestead on the Rock has not started. It's just us doing this thing. We were like traveling. We had an Instagram, and I think we were called because our surname is Careless. So we had a thing called Careless Adventure. We'd just like post on Instagram. It was never really much, but we were like, well, we're going to go live in this van and travel. So we need to make a way to make money online. And so we dabbled into, I don't know if you know what UGC is. It's basically like, it's user generated content. So basically we were like photographers and videographers for like small budget marketing.
Yeah. We just make content that brands could use on their socials.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So we just started doing like stuff like that. And we started trying to build, we needed to make money obviously to live in this van. So we started doing that. and sort of to fast track the story. So that's our introduction into social media and using a camera sort of thing. So we start doing that. We start building this business, and we hit the road again. We travel up the whole east coast of Australia now, just traveling and working. And by the time the next Sukkot comes around, up in Cairns, which is like the northeast of Australia, Cairns, Port Douglas, we knew of some people that were keeping Sukkot up there. And so we were like, well, like, let's go keep Sukkot with these people. Like, we heard there's people here keeping Sukkot, let's go.
And we knew they were like they've kept Torah for a long time. They were like homesteaders. They were like, oh, they sound like the people we want to be. We're inviting ourselves over. Hello.
Yeah. So we rocked up in our caravan and we're like, hello, how you guys going? And they were beautiful. They were lovely. They were so welcoming to us. And we had a really great Sukkot up there.
That was the first time we'd kept it for the whole duration.
We actually stayed a whole Sukkot.
Yep.
And this is sort of, I'm just like fast tracking hope living now, but this was the beginning of us starting to homestead now. So I wouldn't say like it was a mistake, but we realized at this Sukkot, we're like, I don't think we're supposed to be living in a van.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to be homesteading.
I think it was becoming more obvious because obviously our convictions on food and cooking from scratch just kept growing and growing. And me trying to cook in a caravan was starting to become a little bit frustrating, if I could say politely. Like,
you can't bulk buy in a caravan.
The biggest thing was bulk. I'm like, Tom, like I need to buy like 20 kilos of brown organic rice. Where am I going to store this? Like, otherwise it's not affordable, you know? Like I need to buy bulk. And then traveling, you're not often finding major supermarkets. So it'd be so frustrating to go to a small country grocer. It's like you literally, everything is poison. Like, I'm sorry, I only come back with bananas for dinner because I cannot actually buy anything. So that was starting to become a little bit frustrating too. We'd have to stock up in major towns and the food was just making the trip not enjoyable. Like,
we were more passionate about following Torah essentially and being healthy. And we were like, well, if that's what's important and our health is important, we probably just need to get
traveling is not important then.
Yeah. It's not like this lifestyle, even though it's been good for a season, it's not going to be the best going forward.
Yeah.
So like, we were sort of forced into homesteading via health.
Yep.
And I suppose,
Yeah,
and
health really.
I think one thing for us, we seen Torah and homesteading, if I can use that term, homesteading broadly, that we're seeing them hand in hand. Because for us, it was like Torah means Yahweh's good. He's always been good. He doesn't change, and he has a way of you to live. And then for us, homesteading was like just the application of that, not to the, if we can call it legal standard, if you want to use that term, but like there's a lot of like, if we're going to trust him, go back to restore the ancient paths of Torah. Also, we've got to go back to traditional living. We've got to get back to the way that people would live traditionally, because this is the healthiest way. I think this is the way that God's designed us. I think he has a plan for how he wants us to eat food, prepare food, and live. And it doesn't really work that well living in a caravan.
No,
so we're going to have to go and just try to start a homestead somehow.
Yeah. So Cairns is coming, the Sukkot in Cairns is coming to an end, and we actually find out that we're pregnant there with our second child. So find out I'm pregnant at Sukkot, and then we're like, all right, well, this kind of works well because we'll start making our way back home and we'll try and sell the caravan and we'll just try and like find land and, you know, build our homestead. That's kind of the idea.
We started just looking for land and thinking, how are we going to do this, making plans. And by the time we got back, we were convinced that like we're starting a homestead.
Yeah.
The baby wasn't born just yet. Was it straight away? I'm not sure.
We come back a couple months before the
so we come back, very naive young people. We're like, we're looking for land, you know, a nice river would be good, a few acres on a hill, you know, some forest would be nice as well, you know. And I don't know if you guys, I don't know the prices in America versus Australia, but we did not have the money for any of that. We quickly realized.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but like a lot of people say like land in America to like a lot of acres is like a lot cheaper apparently than in Australia. I don't know how true that is, but we've just heard like when we see what people buy in America compared to land in Australia, we're like, how?
Our plan was we didn't have much money, so we're going to buy the cheapest block of land. So we went from getting acres. We were like, we're going to get acres. We're like, we come to the conclusion actually that debt free was more important than having land. And that was sort of our game plan. We figured, what's the point having a lot of acres if the world ends and you owe the bank it's not your acres anyway. And we were like, better off having the little that you own, and then at least it's yours. So that was sort of our conviction. So we were like, okay, well, what can we afford? Turns out we can't afford anything. And then we just looked at like the cheapest blocks in Victoria. So we wanted to be a couple hours drive from home from our family. And the cheapest block we could find, we ended up getting a quarter of an acre, so 1,000 square meters. So I'm not sure if that's the same math you guys use there, but quarter of an acre, so 1,000 square meters. I don't know how many feet that is, if you guys are talking feet, but
Do they use acres over there? Do you use acres?
We use acres. So quarter
Yeah.
of acre, I guess we go with like 10,000 square feet or something ish, 10 to 12,000 square feet. But yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's like a suburban block really, but we find this block like in the country in a beautiful like little country town, and it's the cheapest thing we can find. It was $65,000. So I don't know what
AUD.
Australian, yeah. So I don't know what that correlates for you guys, but it was 65,000. It was the cheapest block in like Victoria, and we were like,
oh, that'll do.
That's it. That's the one.
It's perfect.
Because we didn't have, that's like all the money we had. And so we're like, okay, well, it must be this block. And it was when we actually went and looked at a couple blocks before that, and they just didn't feel right. And this one, when we went on it, we were like, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is it. This is going to be our homestead. And so we brought the block, and we didn't know when we brought the block, like we knew that there was some Torah people out that way, but we didn't know, we didn't have much relationship with them. We didn't know how many of them there were. But we brought the block anyway, and I'm just didn't want to miss anything before we're up to.
Yeah, that's it. We brought the block, and then we went back to live with my parents now because we bought the block and we have no money. We're working out what we're going to do, how we're going to live on there one day.
So we've got a block of land and a caravan.
Yeah, so we have the caravan. So we're like living with my parents, but kind of sometimes just doing little like close by trips because also to have some family time. And
you heard of a Sukkot? Or was it birth first? Or
yeah,
okay, you go.
So during this time, the birth is getting close anyway. So we're not too stressed. We're like, we just, focus on this. So we ended up having our second child, which was our daughter, Zipporah. We ended up having a home birth this time. It was just Tom and I at home. And that was a really lovely, great birth as well. And of course, like most births, you're just in awe of what just happened and the design. And it's just such a big faith booster again, So having her was another faith booster.
Yeah.
That we're on the right track and that Yahweh is good, I suppose. And then, what's wrong there?
I'm going to backtrack just a tiny bit, because when we brought the land, this is actually, I'm going to say, the start of Homestead on the Rock.
Yeah.
Because we there's balloons on the screen. I don't know if people can see that. Anyway.
It's excited for you.
So we started, we figured, well, I don't know if other people have thought this, but I think it's a common thought. Like, if we start homesteading, maybe we can sell the eggs and we'll make money, or maybe we can grow food and we can sell it. And we do this, and we went through these thought patterns, and then we're like, turns out it's going to be really hard to make money off the land, and we've only got like a tiny block. So how are we going to make money from the land? And then we were like, well, we could do a YouTube channel, because at least then we can do YouTube on the land. Like we can fit that in. And then we also had like this conviction, which I don't encourage too many people to have this conviction because it comes with trials. But we were like, we've always sort of felt like, your life should be a ministry. And I think sometimes there's wisdom in having like your business on one side and then your ministry over here. And there's good reason for doing that. But we felt convicted that it was like, whatever you do, it's a ministry. So it was like, it has to be all in. So we were like, YouTube, perfect. Like we can be a light to the world and we can share our faith and encourage people and be this great ministry. But we were like, we didn't use the word ministry. We're like, it's a business. It's just a holy business, it's a holy business. Because like, we needed to make money. Like we didn't have money. So we've got to find a way to do it. And I don't know, it definitely, it has come with its challenges, definitely. So that was the beginning of that. When we brought land, we made our first video, and our first video went like viral somehow. We don't really it was a good video, but we didn't think it was like it was like 250,000 views or something. So we
on
were
our
like,
first ever video.
yeah. So we were like, hey, this is great.
It must be a sign they were doing good. And when we go back and watch that video now, we're like, what is
Yeah.
that? It's like
A lot of-
so boring.
Why are people watching this video?
Just us two chatting about our beliefs and our convictions, like
Yeah,
not
well,
the greatest edits. I mean,
yeah, it
pretty-
was just pretty chill
average.
video.
But yeah, so our channel was called Homestead on the Rock. That's
Yeah.
what we decided to name it, because we were like, you know, we want our channel to reflect biblical values.
Yeah.
And that was like the best decision we just made from the start. It just made sure we, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good foundation
Yeah.
for the channel. It's a bit ironic, obviously, Homestead on the Rock, but having that name gives us the opportunity to witness a lot. And we tell people it's because there's this famous sermon where Yeshua says in Matthew 5, 6, and 7, the Sermon on the Mount, you know, he teaches the people and he says, anyone who hears my word and does them, he's like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. And we want to be the wise man who builds his house on the rock. So we're Homestead on the Rock. And we get to give that little spill all the time. It was a good foundation. We're really happy that we chose that name because in the social media world, the YouTube world, you're always being encouraged to feed chase the algorithms and get the views. But starting with the biblical names helped us, I think, keep biblical.
Mm.
I hope that makes sense to people.
Yeah.
But then also, we also had another video. It was like our 5th video. We did a vlog of that birth that Sam was talking about.
Yeah.
So this was like our 5th video, and we made us. You can go and watch Sam's birth if you want us on our YouTube. And that video is up to like maybe like 500 or 600. I think like 550,000 views or something on YouTube. So we were like,
Brought a lot of traction to our channel.
so we got a good kickstart.
Yeah, good kickstart for a new
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, so
yeah.
we're actually, just to give you guys a picture of where we're at right now, we've got a piece of land. We've got a caravan just parked at Sam's. We're living in the room that Samantha grew up in with our little family.
Got 2 kids.
Up in the room in Samantha's parents' house. And Samantha's parents' house, Samantha's parents, shout out to them, because they let us come with our little family, live in this room. And then they also let us, so we're like all in for homesteading at this point. We're like, we're going to be homesteaders. I'm like, I need room in the backyard. I'm going to start a garden. We get all these pots. We're growing food. We're trying to grow
It's
food.
like proper growing food too. It's not like 1 or 2 tomatoes. Like
Yeah.
we've got like 15 different types of vegetables growing. We're bringing in harvest every day.
We were
Like,
busy.
like-
And we got chickens. So we were like, we need chickens. Like, you're at homestead, you got to get chicken. So we convinced Samantha's parents, can we let us put a chicken down the side?
Just three.
And looking back, it was not probably the greatest environment for chickens. It was just like a little cage in the corner. But it was a start. It was a start. We were home. It's actually funny because like our first year of Homestead on the Rock, of being YouTubers, we were just living in Samantha's parents' house, just making homesteading videos. Like, we didn't have any homestead whatsoever.
No.
So we're a homesteading channel that doesn't homestead.
We were promising them, we bought land, we'll be there one day, but watch us for now.
Yeah. Watch me try to bake a sourdough bread. Yeah.
We were just learning so much. Anyway, so yeah, this time Zipporah is probably about 10 or 12 weeks old now. So she's still newborn. And we are like, okay, look, we have to sell the caravan because we have no money. Like, how are we going to build? We think if we can sell the caravan, we'll probably be able to do something. So we used the caravan for the very last time to go to another Sukkot.
Yeah.
Now, this Sukkot is actually the group we fellowship with now. So funnily enough, the block we bought was only,
About
an hour proximity from this new group we go to, our congregation, sorry. They have quite a bit of land there. So that's the Sukkot we went to, which in hindsight is just amazing because we bought that block of land not really knowing if there was any other.
Just completely it was cheap.
Like I said, it was just because it was the cheapest. But funnily enough, there's such a good congregation that we're now a part of. And yeah, so this is our first Sukkot there. So
And we didn't know any of these people either.
yeah.
So we heard there was a Sukkot and we had our caravan and we like messaged them. We're like, can we come? I think they knew someone that knew us. So like we got like vetted by someone. Someone must have said they're not too crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they let us come. And we just rocked up and met them for the first time. And that was such a blessing to us because they were such a great people, welcomed us. And we felt like, oh, we're home. Like, this is beautiful. Actually, I remember they were singing that song. my life, you have
Oh,
been
yeah.
faithful.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was song, and we were like, oh, we're home. This is beautiful,
Yeah,
you know?
it was
Our people, we found our tribe.
Yeah. Well, we're so excited to see so many other believers. We're like, wow.
Yeah.
Because where we were fellowshipping back home, it wasn't actually like, I'll say a Torah group just to use that classification. There wasn't really that in Melbourne. So we're like, we knew of other people here and there, but there wasn't like a constant a constant gathering.
We hadn't made one home yet.
Yeah,
put it like
I suppose so. But moving out more rural, which I think is with the many states, there's a lot more Torah groups out in the country, I suppose. So moving out that way, we found a
close
group.
this blind so you don't get too much light.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so we did that whole Sukkot there. And we were just like, couldn't believe how blessed we were the whole time knowing that we have such a group nearby now. Anyways, that Sukkot ended. We went back to my parents' house because that's where we're living. And the caravan sells.
That was the last time we used the van.
That was the last time. And the caravan actually sells for $88,000, which is an important number to remember. So we have to say that now.
Yeah, so now we've got a block of land and we've got 88,000.
Okay, we're like, woo, all right.
We had a little bit more than that, but about that much.
Like, all right, let's build this house. We got our land, we got some cash, let's do it.
Yeah. So we're now like going through all the progress that a lot of people have gone through. Like, how do you build the cheapest house? Can you park a tiny home on land? Can you live in a caravan? Can I buy something and bring it over? What do we do? And we ended up coming to the conclusion that we should just build the whole thing ourselves. Was not a good idea in hindsight. So we went through like all the plans, and I'm just making sure we're saying the right thing. But we sort of started making plans to build this house. We're like, we got the drawings, the engineering done. We designed it really small. Had all these plans of this little house that, if we just somehow we'd figure it out and we'd just make it work and we'd be able to build it really, really cheap. And we're very ambitious. We were like, well, we'll just get out there and make it work. And so eventually we actually said we need to find a rental because Sam's parents' house was like 2 hours from the property. We're like, we're never going to be able to build a house living 2 hours away from our block. So we need a rental nearby. So I put a post up in Facebook and I was like, we're a young family looking for a place to rent. You know, if something cheap comes up, someone let us know.
Yeah.
And then thankfully, praise God, like a year later, from when I made that post, someone reached out and said, there's a house for you and come and look at it if you want it, basically.
It didn't take a year from that time, though, because you had put that post I
put that post, well, as soon as we brought the block, I put that post up.
So they answered a year later, which is where we're at now, currently in the timeline, which was just so perfect.
And that was a massive blessing because we needed like 3 things. We were like, okay, we need to be near the block of land so we can actually build the house. We also wanted a full-size kitchen because like Sam needs a full-size kitchen. It's not like massive, but it can't be a caravan. And it needed to be cheap because like we were tight for cash. And then we felt so blessed. This house is literally, we're renting a house like here, and then there's like 2 houses or 3 houses in between, blocks, like a little block of land, and then our rental. So we got to basically rent a house that's just down the street from our block of land. And it's a beautiful old house. And it's really cheap. Yeah. So we just felt so blessed, and it was like the stars are aligning, you know, God's working everything out. We go out there and start our homestead and build our house.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. So at this point, then we move out, we start renting, and our health journey is obviously still escalating and growing more and more. And we start to get a little bit more interested in like, okay, let's define between me and you, Thomas, what actually is food? So like, okay, we all know Leviticus 11. Sure, whatever. I'm like, so what do you think about like, I think it's Genesis 1:29, somewhere in there. You know, the verse that says, you know, herbs are food and the fruit that yields seed is food. I'm like, okay, well, this is part of the Torah. I'm like, well, there's some more instructions what's food. And then me and Tom are like, so is anything outside of that scope not food? Like, I'm not saying the Bible doesn't say this, but saying this, but we were kind of like, so is preservatives, are they actually food? Like, is that something Yahweh says is food, or is that an abomination? Like, which one? I was like, we were like getting...
It sounds harsh, but we were just questioning. We were just questioning.
We're just really questioning things. And then I guess personally our conviction, we were like, nothing else is food. Like at least...
It doesn't mean our diet's perfect. Let's put a disclaimer out there. It's pretty good, but...
Pretty close.
We're humans. We're humans, all right? We're not perfect.
Yeah, but I think a personal conviction for our house once we especially moved to the rental, I was like, nothing we buy that comes in here can be anything outside that scope.
We can control what comes in.
what comes in. So then I was like very passionate about like making all your sauces and your flavors and things like that from scratch. And this is what led us to make a cookbook basically for our business, because we're always like, well, how can we grow the business, have more income, I suppose. So while we're renting, I create a cookbook. It's like really encouraging people just to make all your flavors yourself, use the ingredients that Yahweh designed to flavor your food, really. So we make a cookbook, which is really cool. We take all the photos for it. I write it. I'm like, just here I am making a book.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's still available. Like you can buy a hard copy. We have an ebook as well. But that was just, I guess, another.
Well, is one of the ways where we were like, our YouTube message, our homesteading message was just start where you're at, because we were like, clearly like we're a homesteading channel and we're living upstairs in a bedroom, not in our own house, no land. So our story was just start where you're at. Yeah. And then obviously one of the things that we emphasized a bit was health and cooking from scratch and stuff like that. And then we're trying to make money from YouTube as well. So that we sort of just started to think, well, maybe we'll have to bring out a few products.
Yep.
Sort of bring out. So this is sort of got to build the business, I suppose, and try to find a way to make this all work. But obviously health, as Sam's saying, our health journey is, we're getting more and more dramatic. I don't know, what's the word? Extreme.
I think just convicted. Like
we just our people don't really like talking about health too much. Like we can all like it's you can go into like a Torah circle and talk about you shouldn't eat pork, but if you say you shouldn't eat like ice cream, it's frowned upon. You know, like I mean, homemade ice cream, that's fine, but like you know, we're just
like to pose that question. We're like, what really is food though? Like I understand Australia will let you eat emulsifier, but is that food? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
You know?
But these are convictions that we don't talk about too much. We talk about health in the most polite way possible, and we encourage people.
Yeah, we don't slam people. We're not like we don't make people feel bad for the eat. I'm just saying personally, this is just where we're at. Where we're like,
I think that this is a common journey that people, or a common path. It's not the most common, like you're noticing in Torah. Not everyone's on that path, but I think that when you start questioning what you were told from the big block church, you also question what you've been told from big pharma, big everything. And so then you're like, well, let's just start like we know nothing. And this is probably how you got there. And you're like, let's act as if we know nothing and just go with what we do know. And I mean, add from there. How can you go
We have
wrong?
like a little thing, like I'm going to make a video about it one day, but like a rule you can play with yourself is if you can't produce it on a homestead, is it food? It's like, you know, like we can produce meat, milk, honey, eggs, all types of foods and jams and anything, even like salt if you have a big enough homestead, you know, like depending on, there's so many things anything can produce on a homestead depending on its size. But like if you need to now bring in a processing factory, that's not really a homestead and you can't really produce it on a homestead. So it's probably not food. That's just sort of like how we think about it. If you can't produce it on a homestead, then it shouldn't be eaten on a homestead. So that's sort of like where we're at. And then we're sort of like, and I think Samantha was more heavily involved at the beginning of our YouTube. So a lot of cooking, kitchen videos and health stuff. It has slowed down a little bit, just being busy with being a mum, sort of homeschooling, Samantha is pregnant again now. So, you know, there's lots of things that mums have to do. So the YouTube is more heavily me, but it's still obviously the same message.
You change your mind about building a house.
So we moved to this rental. We're living there. The YouTube channel's documenting me, like I built a chicken coop and start a worm farm and start a compost and plant some trees. And our videos are just like us starting from scratch. And that's what our message is. Just start where you're at. Like another thing that I often say on YouTube, well, I don't say it to this degree that I'm going to say it today, but like there's no requirement that you have to hit to be a homesteader. And it's similar to being a Christian. Like, you know, do you have to keep Sabbath to be a Christian, or do you have to be baptized, or do you have to wear tzitzis, or do you have to do this? And it keeps going. And I think that the honest answer is Christianity is the pursuit to walk like Jesus, essentially, follower of Jesus. And we're all in different stages in that walk. all, we're trying to be holy, trying to be set apart. We're all at different stages. And homesteading is the same in that homesteading, you don't have to have 12 acres, 6 cows, 6 chickens and this to be a homestead, because some people have massive land and they don't produce any healthy food. And some people have the smallest blocks and their food is amazing. And so like homesteading in our mind and self-sufficiency, or however you want to term it, was like, it wasn't a checklist, it was a pursuit. It was a lifestyle. And so we were just like, let's encourage you to start where you're at. And similar with I sort of tie those two, I use those two pictures together so you can understand our mindset a little bit. But then, so we're still building on the house. We're trying to get this house going, and we get all of our drawings, engineering, everything done, send it into the surveyors. They're people that issue the building permit. I'm not sure how it all works in America, but all we have to do is pay the permit fee, and then they will give us the permit and we can start building. But we have not got enough money to build this house. We're like, they're looking at the budget.
It's going to be 3/4 built or half built.
We're going to be the man who like sets out to build and doesn't finish building, and it's not going to work. And we basically just sit there in like limbo for a few months. Like,
mind you, we're trying to build a very small, cheap house. We're not doing anything.
We're trying to do things as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And also the other factor is like, we want to be homesteaders, not necessarily house builders. And so like we realized it's going to take a couple of years of like I'm a bricklayer by trade. I've got a little bit of construction background. I'm like, building a house is not a small undertaking. And so this is going to be very time consuming. And are we going to be able to make money, build a house, build a YouTube, be a family, do all these things? And so we were just sort of like a bit stressed out, and we were like, everyone on YouTube's like, when's the house going? When are you building the house? And all our friends and family, everyone's always like, oh, how's the house going? And we're always just like, yeah, it's coming. and then,
we decided, no, we're not building it then.
Yeah, I remember sitting down one day with Sam and we're just like, I think we just have to stop saying that it's coming and that we're going to build a house, and just say that it's on pause. Yeah. Because we just don't see a way through. Like, we're just going to start. We're not going to be able to finish it. We just didn't have the money.
Much smarter to stop before you begin than it is to begin and then, I mean, even paying for the permit is a waste of money if you're not going to do it.
Well, that's right.
Well, we've already invested like a lot of money. We've connected water, we've connected power, we've paid for drawings, paid for engineering, energy ratings, all sorts of things, septic permits and stuff like that. So we've already invested, but you're right. Once you pay for that building permit, it's another like $6,000 investment, and now the clock starts ticking and all that stuff. So we're like, we're just going to put it on pause and wait. And then we didn't have to wait long. And obviously, I'll tell two parts here. So we were on wait. We're just sitting there like, what are we going to do? After like a month or two of waiting, and when I say we're waiting, we're obviously in prayer. We're like, what do we do here? This is not working. Yeah. And I just want to encourage people, because we are the people, we're still young here. We're always hearing stories of other people who are like, they're in their 50s or 60s or older or so. And there's like, oh, Yahweh will find a way. He will lead you. He will guide you. And we're sitting there like, we're praying, like, I'm not seeing any signs here, like who's making the decisions around here? Because I'm not getting any signals, and like nothing's ever clear in the moment. Well, for us, some things have been clear, but a lot of things are really hard. It's really hard to decide what's right. And it's really hard to decide what God wants you to do. And we struggled with these decisions, like all of these decisions. Should we get a van? Should we buy land? Should we start a family? Should we do this? All of these decisions are hard decisions. And very few, only some of them will be like black and white. So we're like, in hindsight now, we can say, oh, Yahweh paved the way and he made it smooth for us, and you just trust in him and it'll all work out. But it's not easy when you're in the thick of it.
I tell them what happened.
So then what happened is, no, we just waited like a couple months praying. And then I was like, a lot of people were encouraging us to instead of building, to just like move a house, like relocate a house. And then so I was like, okay, I'll look into that. We rang every single relocator in our state. No one had anything. Everything was like twice as expensive as what we could even possibly afford. And then we rang this guy and he said, I've got a house for you. And he's like, come and have a look at it. We went and looked at it, and the house was like the exact drawing that we drew. The house that we had designed, it was like almost the exact same, except it had an extra bedroom attached on it. So we were like, this is perfect. This is the house we drew, and it's already built. Like it's already there.
And it was?
It was, yeah, you can say it was $88,000.
It was literally 88,000.
That's how much we sold the van for. And we're like, this must be the house. But
it was trade for trade.
but we didn't even realize at the time. No, it's actually funny. When it was 88K, we didn't realize, we forgot that our van sold for 88K.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, we can be like, oh, there was a plan all along. We just had to walk in it. But at the time, we didn't even correlate that. Only recently, we're looking back, we were like, that was the house from the beginning. Like that was not the right house. So now we're getting sort of almost up to date here. Yeah. We've brought this house, like, put the down payment on it. We've gone through all the engineering, all the paperwork. We've got everything done. Everything's in with our surveyor now. Like I was just emailing him like a couple of days ago. He's been going backwards and forwards, and he's about to issue the permit. Will give me the fee, and then we'll have a permit, and then we can relocate that house onto our property. So we're not even on our homestead yet. We're still at the rental down the road, but we've got like our gardens and the chickens and stuff on the block. We can every morning we just walk down the road to the chickens. We walk down the road to our homestead.
I think that's an important factor to say. Like we've had the block of land for a year and a half or whatnot, but since we've lived there in the rental, Tom's made like the best chicken coop ever. We have our chickens. Last summer we did like a really big functioning garden.
Everything's been growing.
Grew so many tomatoes. We canned them all. Like we've done a lot of stuff on the land, so we've still been using it, which has been really nice.
It's been a blessing to have a house and the land, and then soon we'll just have the house on our land. But also in the meantime, in all this, obviously in the background, this is when I say the background, Homestead on the Rock is we're Homestead on the Rock now. We've got this channel going. Everyone's followed the journey, and it's sort of it's a struggle. It is a struggle, which is something we could probably take some advice from you because you're a biblical content creator. It's hard to turn these things into functioning businesses. So we're sort of struggling with that a little bit.
Can you just give some examples? Like obviously we are Homestead on the Rock, and we want our everyday light to show in our video. So we want to show what we believe through homesteading, through cooking, through all these things. But obviously there is challenges on like, say, Thomas made a chicken video recently, which is like how to grow infinite grass for your chickens.
Just a sort of a silly video almost.
But it's still caring for your chickens. I know that video got it's on like 270,000 views, which like made a good amount of money for our family.
Yeah.
It's like then the other day we did like a biblical Q&A, it's like it gets 5,000 views. Didn't quite do the same effect, So it's like a challenge because it's like, well, we're not going to not talk about what we believe, but it's like at the same time, it's our business. So it's a little bit of a struggle there. And we've already talked about what Tom's like. His conviction is too strong. He's not going to just drop this. Like, explain about that time you said in a video for the Bibles.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, so I try to be like, we're passionate believers. So like, if you want an honest YouTube channel, it's going to come out in your videos, right? So in one of my videos, I was just like talking and I shared a scripture and I was reading my Bible like to the camera. I'm just in the garden, just like talking to the camera by myself, basically, but talking to our viewers. And then I was like, I just felt convicted. I was like, if anyone wants a Bible, I'll send you one. Just like send me an email.
This is random, like not scripted.
Yeah. Like just send me an email and then I'll send you a Bible.
No, but you said I'll send the first 4.
I've got this pocket Bible. It's like a small little pocket Bible, and I carry that around. And then I said, if you want one of these, I'll send you one. But I said I'll send it out to the first 4 people that email me because this Bible cost me like $50 plus. I was like, this is going to cost me like $250 to send out these Bibles. I can't give infinite Bibles. But then the emails started coming.
After he said that, we had so many emails. I was like, Tom, how can we choose? How can we say no to people who want a Bible? And a lot of the people who message like, I've never read the Bible. We're like, I have to send everyone.
You can't deny people now. So
and then we're like, you know what? Let's just put on our website a thing. Like, if you want a Bible, you can get one. So you can go on our website now. The Bible's free. We'll even ship it to you for free. We're like, how many? Surely no one's really, how many people are going to want it? We did this about 2 months ago. We've sent over 140 Bibles now, which is crazy.
Yeah, people are hungry. People are hungry for the word.
Yeah,
we don't get that many views, but there's people who want it.
Yeah, which is amazing. So often when we're packing orders, like I'll pack a cookbook and a few other things we have on our store, and people will still add a Bible in, and they'll leave us like a note. Like the other day, there was such a beautiful note. Someone ordered 2 Bibles and they were like, my husband and I have never read the Bible, but we've decided that we want to start reading it together. Like, can't wait to receive them. We just get a lot of people saying like, yeah, like people are like, oh, we're not Christians, but we really love what your family's doing. And I just want to read the book for myself. And it's like, oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So as much as that's also amazing, it's like, oh, we also got to fund this project that we've just created. But, you know, it's been really good. We
had some people reach out and support as well.
Yeah.
So that's really helped.
We do. And we do have a little thing on our website too. If you want to back what we're doing for the Bibles.
You can buy a Bible forward, pay it forward to help us. But when we started, I remember talking to Samantha when we started YouTube, and I remember telling her, because like I grew up in churches and I understood like ministry and there's like business. And I was like, I would always tell Sam, this is not a ministry. It is not a ministry because we need to make money. Like we need to make money. And I don't want a business. You can't be a ministry that's out there to make money, right? That's just a no-no. I've seen enough mega church to know. So we're like, we can't do that. I'm like, it's strictly a business. But then obviously it just becomes a ministry because you just get flooded with emails and comments and people who are just like inspired by faith, I suppose. And they get convicted by, and we don't, like I try not to be like bashy in the videos. We don't try to bash you with scripture. We try to keep it quite lighthearted, but we obviously share scriptures and talk. And now we're in this like crossroads moment because there's two ways. He's like, we can evangelize and like try to make videos that reach the world. Or if you do that, you can never respond to every email. I'm sure you've probably like, you're quite a popular man in the Torah movement, Luke. Like sometimes your emails is a bit silly how many emails can come. Or comments. Yeah, we can reply to every comment. It takes so much time. And so now we're like, is this a business because we need to make money, or is this a ministry? Do we help these people?
Yeah, we're not really sure what to do. It's actually been a bit of like a discussion lately. We're feeling a bit lost with how we should go about it. Because the emails are insane that we get people asking questions. Like,
I can't answer every time someone has a disagreement with me theologically and wants to send me an email asking for my interpretation of, the Jerusalem Council, Acts 15. I'm like, oh, I've got to go through this again,
But there's a lot more emails of people asking questions of like new to the faith. That's what's more like, it's like, oh, you
can't ignore those emails. Like people reach out being like, oh, you've inspired me to start reading, or I grew up religious, but I walked away. It's like the problem is if we grow more, when we have less time for people. So it's like, and it takes a lot of time. Like you would know, Luke, how long it takes to make a video. Like it takes so much time to make a video and develop things and try to turn it into a business. So we're sort of like, we're at a crossroads. We're like, which way do we go? Do we just go more like, do we keep more palatable for the whole world? Do we not get too religious? Because we're obviously religious, but like, do we go for like more views and so broadly accepted in that sense? Because if we go niche down with our
Torah
theology, let's say, the more theological you come, you start to be not taste as nice. Christians start to not want to watch. You go. The atheists don't want to watch, and then the Christians don't want to watch. So it starts. But right now we've got like a little bit of both. These are the struggles that and we're not. This is not to complain. We feel very blessed, and things have worked well for us. But they're just decisions and
just not from the direction.
because we're still trying to. This year, this is so we've always worked other jobs, but this year we said if Homestead on the Rocks is going to ever make money that we can live off, we've got to go all in, and we've got to find a way to make this be a financially way that we can actually live. And so we've gone like all in on it this year. And I mean, we were alive, but we're not rich. We're scraping through. I'm sure you know how much YouTube pays from a view. It's not very much. You don't make a lot of money from YouTube, so it comes with its challenges. But that sort of almost brings us up to present day. We feel very blessed. We've got a house coming.
Yes,
it's paid for. I mean, there's still more to do. Like there's a few extra expenses that come with the house. That we still need to work through, like plumbing, electricity, have to be done, finishing touches to the house. There's still probably another like 50 grand that's got to go into it, with like a septic tank and stuff like that. So there's a lot of money that goes into it, but we believe we're on the right track, and it's all worked out, and all we got to do is just keep on keeping on, and it's all coming together. And it's funny because I know when we started this video, you were probably thinking these guys are homesteaders, but it's like, That's what our story's just starting. We're just here.
just here. Yeah.
We're still Homestead on the Rock, but we're like the only homesteading channel in the world probably that doesn't live on the land.
Yeah, that's right. But somehow the channels still work to be how it is.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love that your life is a witness there on YouTube. I mean, just by being who you are and being passionate about what you're passionate about, which is the Bible and the Creator, you're able to be a witness, and hundreds of people are getting Bibles. I mean, 140 people or whatever. That's crazy. That's really cool. So maybe, I don't know, as long as you just keep being who you are, I feel like you won't be able to detach yourself from being a witness. So you'll be a witness even if you concentrate on going business 100%, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, we've definitely like we just brought out, we made these like compost bins. We're trying to bring out like homesteading related products to sort of help supplement that. Like we get some sponsors and some stuff. So people sponsor our channel. Actually, we have noticed that in America, there is the Torah community is so much bigger than in Australia. The population's just bigger there as well. But there's so many Torah businesses in America. We're like, man, we need to start like partnering with some of these, because we get sponsors and we work with brands in Australia, but they're like not really religious brands or anything like that. Like there's no like Christian networking going on down here. So like, we need to start like get the network, get the
Australian Torah
networking
network,
happening. Yeah, our emails are gonna be flooded after this now.
Yeah, who knows? People may reach out after this.
Yeah. Well, there's all thoughts, but we need to keep working on it as a business because money doesn't come from thin air necessarily. So we've got to try to find ways to make it work, and like I said, keep being that light. But I don't want everyone to be like a blemish. We feel blessed where we are. Yeah. Like everything has worked out really well.
Well, speaking of business and this sort of thing, what's the best way for people to support you? Let's say they're like, oh, I love Tom and Sam. Where do they go? How do they support you in the best way, or support your mission, donate to the Bibles, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, well, the easiest and least effort, I suppose, and least amount of money is just to support our YouTube channel, I suppose.
Yeah, if you watch videos, like and subscribe is always a good help.
It always helps. Yeah. So Homestead on the Rock is our YouTube channel.
That doesn't cost anything.
And then from there, I know we're in Australia, so we don't ship to the US, but we obviously have the cookbook is available as an e-book, I suppose. So you
get a digital version.
You get a digital version. That's just on our website as well. And if you want to back our Bible project that we've
you can just pay forwards Bibles, so then you can buy Bibles.
Yeah, there's a little donations tab on our website where you can donate, and then we'll use that money to buy Bibles.
Just to clear, because I said before that the Bible that I gave out was $50. We don't give out $50 Bibles anymore. Yeah. I have given it out to some people who requested, but we've found cheaper Bibles to buy.
Yes,
just to clarify.
Well, the quantity that we're sending, we chose not to do the $50.
We found some more affordable options. But just to clear that up in case anyone was curious.
Yeah.
And recently, I saw a video that you did, Tom, where you were talking to the camera and you're talking about your faith, and you were talking about a project that you want to be working on. It sounded to me like it was going to be a magazine.
Yes,
Is this something you want to talk more about?
Yeah, I'm happy to put it out into the world and see who hears it and see what happens. Basically, the idea is there's a few reasons for this idea. So in the video that Luke's describing, for those who haven't seen it, I sort of just shared that our situation and some of our convictions, and I was elaborating on the fact that YouTube owns our business, and that we have to sort of cultivate a relationship with the YouTube, and that if at any time or some reason, we might lose our jobs again. We've lost our jobs a couple of times. If something happens that means we have to comply to a certain level, YouTube could shut us down. Or if we say the wrong thing too much, or whatever that be. We're not super scared of that, but the point is that if YouTube goes tomorrow, our whole family, our livelihood disappears basically. And so that's a bit of a concern that your livelihood's in the hands of YouTube. Obviously, it's in the hands of the creator, but YouTube has a part to play. And so one of the ideas we've thought to help bring a bit more security for our family was through an idea that we kind of like, is a magazine. And we figured that Torah Christian people already like reading books, and they're traditional people who spend time reading and they value text. So we were like, maybe we can bring out a magazine in Australia. I mean, it could go worldwide, but we were thinking Australia to begin. It was like a on the rock, maybe a homesteading, biblical homesteading magazine, which would be like homesteading. That would be one of the genres or the themes, but it would also just be like biblical livelihood and family and a bit of faith and a bit of theology or a bit of teaching or encouragement and stories. And what we'd do is we'd find Torah people in Australia who, I actually had someone reach out to us as well. Shout out to Benjamin if he's watching this. Reach out to us and they said like they would help us, write articles or share things. And I'm going to shout out another friend of mine. I'm just going to say Marcus. Like there's a guy, people who are Torah Observant who have different aspects in their life. So this guy Marcus, he's a shepherd and he has sheep, and maybe he could share a thought about being a Torah Observant sheep grazer in the article, or someone else in Australia who is Torah Observant could share something about milking a cow or cooking or baking food or having children. Homeschooling is a massive thing. We'd put articles about homeschooling, sort of like a magazine that comes out maybe quarterly. And it would be like subscription based. And then this way we would be able to have a business that was in our hands. Like as long as you can send mail, we can send you the we can send you the book. So you can get Homestead on the Rocks content even if YouTube or the internet gets shut down. As long as you can send mail, our business will keep running. And then that way we can be a little bit more direct with our words, and there's no algorithm to worry about. And so that was sort of the idea behind that magazine, the On the Rock magazine. Which is sort of just in the work. It's just like it's an idea that's in the works, because obviously anything like that takes a lot of time and effort and energy to get up and running. But I've like been putting them out there, just coming up with ideas and brainstorming it, because we would like to possibly build that, because we're not sure do we want to document our life week after week forever? That's a reasonable consideration.
Good question.
Yeah. So it's like maybe we might back it off eventually and do like one a fortnight, and then maybe one a month, like a magazine 1 month and a video 1 month or something, and just what's the future of a Homestead on the Rock? So these are just sort of ideas. Nothing's concrete, but for now we're definitely just going to be doing videos, build a homestead, encourage people to start homesteading, follow Yahweh, get back to healthy biblical living. But that is just an idea. Do you want to touch on that at all?
No, that's it really. We probably need some more help working it out and see where we're going to get all the resources and information. But we haven't put too much time in it, but it's an idea we would like to pursue.
Yeah, and Sam would write articles in there as well, possibly about like being a mum and like health cooking recipes and homeschooling and stuff like that as well. So it would be a book for all one and all, basically. Yeah.
It's a cool idea. It's actually something I have a little bit of a background in, because I studied magazine journalism before, and that's what I did for 7 years. I was an editor.
There you go. We do have one of your books actually at the Sakote in Cairns. Someone gave us the Truth, the Reformation 2.0.
Hey, no way.
Yes. Well done. We do it. We think of you're like a little inspiration to us, because you're a content creator of sorts that's doing biblical content. So we look up to you, man. You do some good job.
Oh, bro. Thank you, sir. Well, like you're noticing, it's much more narrow niche than homesteading, for example. So
Yeah,
definitely.
it's scary to say we're just going to, like, if we just went out tomorrow and said we're just going to be a Torah channel, we get a lot of Torah people are very encouraging, and they'll say, we'll back you. But a couple of thousand people watching every week, it's a blessing, but like I'll have to get a job somewhere else. Like it doesn't work. So this is just, it is niching down and providing for the family. This is why I said earlier on, the struggles of being a biblical business. You're balancing it is a bit of a balance. But I'm sure it'll all work
it's hard.
out.
Sometimes, like what you were saying earlier, sometimes it's easier to have business here, ministry, quote unquote, whatever, than ministry here. Like I grew up as a locksmith long before I did the like you were a bricklayer. And sometimes you're like, if I were just laying bricks, then I do whatever I wanted. But you're good. What you're doing there is great. And people, when they check out your channel, they'll see, it takes a certain talent and gift to be able to talk to the camera like you're talking to a person and have a relationship there. And that's, I think, that's part of, I think, what resonates with people about you guys. And so that's a big deal. It's not just something that anyone does, honestly. Everyone does try to do it nowadays, but
Yeah, definitely. Well, we feel like blessed to have the position where we're in. Like we would hate to, we often like, I don't know if it's like, if this is a good or bad joke, but we sometimes joke like, just delete the whole thing and just go and get a job down the road because it is like, it's not easier, but there's a little bit less stress. Building any business in life is hard work. So it's like, sometimes it would be easy just to be like, oh, I could just go and get a job laboring for someone or work on a farm down the road or a vineyard or something. And then we could just stop stressing about this thing. Yeah. But then on the other hand, we're like, but we can do it.
Yeah,
like we can do it. Like there's no one else. We don't know anyone else in Australia doing a Torah homesteading channel. So we can do it, and it's working. So we can't stop now. You know.
Yeah.
It seems like you're being guided. Like, just if you think, but hearing your story and having you guys look back over your story, it's obvious that Yah is guiding you. You chose him. You left that life, and you chose him, and she chose him, and now. Seems obvious you're being guided. So I just say keep praying and being guided, and you will be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No, we do feel, that's why I always end with that. We feel good. We still feel blessed. We trust that it's all in his hands. That verse, a man's heart directs his, plans his course, but Yahweh directs his steps. So we do our best, but it's all in his hands in the end. So we're happy with that.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. Would you like to say anything else to anybody out there? Anything that you want to talk about at all? Direct people to or whatever.
I'll go first. I'll see if someone wants to say anything.
I'm fine.
She's not going to say anything. My encouragement. I've got always too much to say, but I'll just say that you have to be crazy for Yahweh. And I'm not saying I'm perfect or crazy, but every time you are faced with a decision, at that time, that decision seems crazy. And then once you do it and you look back in hindsight, it's like, it wasn't actually that crazy. Like, whether it be the start of our journey where it was like leaving my friendship group and not going to music festivals, that was crazy. I was leaving my whole world behind, all my friends and everything. But looking back, it's not that crazy. And then, marrying Samantha at the time was crazy. No one was married. None of our friends were engaged.
At
friends,
21?
we were like so religious to go and get married. That's crazy. But you just got to do it. And then it's like, looking back, it was a blessing. I'm glad I did it. And this just keeps going, whether it be the Sabbath day or starting a homestead or eating healthy or having a family or whatever it is. At the time, it seems crazy, and you have to do the crazy things because it's not that crazy, and there's blessing in it, and there's a better way to live your life. So just do whatever crazy thing that Yahweh's put in your heart.
Yep.
Just go and do it, and then you'll be like, I'm glad I did it. What's next?
I love it. You're right, man. You're absolutely right.
You know nothing? You'll let him go?
I'm good.
All right, if you want to hear more from Samantha, you'll have to go Homestead on the Rock.
Okay, we will link to that, the book, and anything else you send me between now and then, and so people will be able to check it out.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for what you do as well, for putting so much effort into making biblically clean content. We love what you do as well, so keep it up.
Thank you both. Thank you both. Have you ever wanted to have a Torah Observant hero in the shows that you watch? Is that a crazy idea? I don't know, but we're making it at The Life Network. Go to watchthelife.com and find entertainment that you don't have to vet before you show it to your kids. You don't have to cover their eyes before you look at the thumbnails on the site. We're making a bunch of different shows there. Start watching for free and join us.